shampoos a lot. Several mornings she shampoos my locks. Always have my back, she stand true to that. Real type of loving, thank you for that. Yo, run barefoot without no shoes and socks. Cause she keep herself clean, man, I go catch no rush. And she love me for real, man, I feel have no cash. And any little thing and from a splish, she splash. Yo, all this blinging is like you forgot. Use cheddar as the bait, then you recruit the rat. So we listen couple speech of Martin Luther chat. Dennis Brown, Bob Marley and some super cat. Yo, it seem like she live upside the Duke shop. Cause she don't have a scratch, it's only beauty spot. When one duty start is when one duty stop. 1 9 to 5, 1 5 to 12 o'clock. You see me?
This is NTV. This is NTV. This is...
It's 9 p.m. in Kampala on this Friday night, the 29th day of June 2012, and you are right on time for tonight's NTV Weekend Edition. A very warm welcome. Tonight, the woman accused of kidnapping 2 children pleads guilty. Sylvia Nakanwaji jailed for 12 years. Be sure to have your say on this in our NTV Weekend poll. And finally, earth movers arrive at Bududa after 5 days, and the search for bodies is still on. Plus our weekly dose of laughter point blank and more news in NTV Weekend Sport. A very good evening to you. I am Rachel Anitwe, but first in the headlines. Guilty as charged. Makindye court sentences woman to 12 years in for child kidnapping.
The equipment has finally arrived at Bunakasala village in Bulucheke sub-county Bududa district. But have they retrieved even a single body? Join Miss Dilbia Ruhanga as I bring you details to that story.
After 2 days of deliberations by members of parliament on Uganda's oil sector, government insists that all oil revenues will be put in a single account in the central bank and parliament will have an upper hand in appropriating it. I'm Jingo Francis with the details of the story.
Moses Gola will be fighting Zamboki Mate from Angare in a world title bout here in Kampala. Join me, Alfred Odong, for the story on Gola's expectation from the 10-round bout.
Welcome once again to NTV Weekend Edition. First tonight, the Makindye Magistrates Court has sentenced a woman who in May this year kidnapped 2 children in a Kampala suburb to 12 years in prison. Sylvia Nakanwaji, who is in her mid-20s, was found guilty of intending to cause grievous bodily harm to the children aged between 4 months and 4 years. Nakanwaji was charged alongside her accomplice, Fiona Nassali, who was handed a 7-year sentence for conspiring to commit a felony. Chris Ochamaringa reports.
The court found the 2 women guilty of kidnapping children belonging to Kenneth and Mariam Kaizuka of Makindye suburb in May this year. Sylvia Nakanwaji, who's said to have masterminded the kidnap, was handed a 12-year sentence for intending to cause grievous bodily harm to the children, while her accomplice, Fiona Nassali, was given a 7-year jail term for conspiring to commit a felony. Nakanwaji initially insisted the children were hers, but testimonies from witnesses and the contradicting statements she made to police were used to pin her for committing the crime. Kidnap and child sacrifice continue to be a problem in many parts of the country, especially in homes where parents are away at work with no one to closely supervise their children's movements.
And that story is our point of interaction with you, and we ask, what should parents or guardians do to ensure the safety of their children from potential kidnappers? The question again, what should parents or guardians do to ensure the safety of their children from potential kidnappers? Kindly send us your thoughts by typing NTV poll, leave a space, followed by a brief comment to 8778, and do stay with us as we shall sample some of your views during and at the end of tonight's newscast. Now, over 1,000 residents of Bukasa village in Wakiso district are living in fear of losing their land following a survey exercise conducted by the Ministry of Works to set up a dry inland port in the area. The residents feel they have been let down by their local leaders who should have informed them about the project. The ministry needs about 500 acres to set up the dry inland port.
These angry residents of Bukasa in Kirinya are venting their anger to the local leaders and the Ministry of Works for not involving them in the process of setting up a dry inland port in the area.
They've already put in the stones for the land they want without the knowledge of other people. They come here, they make a meeting with the LOCs, and after their meeting, the LOC don't tell us what is going on.
The Ministry of Works has written to me. They have also send me a delegation to inform me that they are in advanced stages of building an inland port.
The residents told NTV that they have invested a lot in their land and this is where they call home. They believe the public land at the periphery of the wetland is enough to accommodate the port. They are now suspicious that someone could be using the pretext of acquiring land for the dry inland port to grab their land.
The distance from the water body up to where we are is almost 5 kilometers. Can't you really get 500 acres anywhere in between there before we arrive at our houses?
The Ministry of Works officials admitted that they went with surveyors to map the land with a view of ascertaining how much land is available in that area, but denied any intention of planning to evict the residents.
The preliminary work that was done was just to go around with the surveyors to try and identify the areas. Then after you've identified the areas, we are not evicting anybody. Okay. Actually, nobody will be forced off their land.
The mistake they made was to begin surveying the area before speaking to people who are going to be affected.
The spokesperson of the Works Ministry, Susan Kataike, says they have already sent out notices to the residents to inform them about the process and the importance of the port. The proposed dry inland port is expected to ease cargo handling within the East African region. Hilara Isiga, NTV.
Now, the government is estimating that oil revenues will trigger Uganda's economic growth to over 10%, and it is estimated that once the production of oil starts by 2015, the oil reserves will produce over 1,000 million barrels for the next 20 years. These estimates, however, are based on the current 40% discoveries out of the oil prospective areas in the country. Jingle Francis with that report.
For 2 days now, lawmakers have been meeting at Speech Resort Munyonyo to discuss oil. It is at this meeting that government launched the Oil and Gas Revenue Management Policy, which stipulates how oil revenues will be shared. The Oil and Gas Revenue Management Policy, unveiled today, gives a 7% royalty to local governments. However, it leaves out cultural institutions like that of Munyoro. But the minister insists that cultural institutions will have to benefit as well.
The local communities or the local cultural institutions which are linked through regional tier governments to benefit.
The constitution currently does not provide for the kingdom, and that's why the bill is silent about it. But we have proposed earlier, and it's already a constitution, that areas which are deemed to have united can form a regional tier.
Finance Minister Maria Chiwanuka today told lawmakers at the 2 days retreat at Munyonyo that all revenues will be enormous, estimating to trigger the economic growth by 10%.
10%. As much as 10%. 10%. As little as 10%. Right, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, 10% is one estimate of the potential contribution of our petroleum resources to our annual GDP, assuming present international oil prices and a 25-year life for our present oil resources. Is 10% a little or a lot?
It's a lot.
These revenues will make Uganda wealthy.
Government says to manage oil revenues, there must be a special account in the central bank, and Parliament will have an upper hand in appropriating the money.
It must be part of the treasury funds appropriated by Parliament. That is responsibility. You don't want an obscure board taking decision on these resources.
It is up to Parliament to ask the next set of questions. Were the problem properly identified? Are the solutions properly prescribed? Were the options properly weighed?
The policy also estimates that once the production of oil starts by 2015, Uganda's oil reserves will produce 1,095 million barrels of oil for the next 20 years. If this is translated into monetary terms of the current dollar exchange, Uganda will generate a total sum of 270,000 trillion shillings in the period of 20 years.
Of course, this is quite a large amount of money, and you need to know that oil as a resource is finite, is volatile, it is bound to go up and down in one or the other. It can generate the Dutch disease syndrome.
These estimates, however, are based on the current figure of the 40% discoveries out of the oil prospective areas in the country. Jingo Francis, NTV.
Now, 5 days since the devastating landslides hit villages in Bududa, recovery equipment including excavators, bulldozers and a wheel loader have just only arrived today to help recover bodies of people buried alive on Monday afternoon. The equipment sent from the office of the Prime Minister will remain in the affected area until the last body of the unaccounted for person is retrieved. For locals in Nabukasala village, Bulucheke sub-county, who have up to 12 people unaccounted for, the help may have come a little too late. Yet in what becomes a forbidding place, there are warnings that the cracks are only getting larger.
The hoes and spades were put down, and it was time for the locals to save what they can for themselves and animals in order to create way for the eagerly awaited equipment. With 5 days of hard work, none of the estimated 12 bodies believed to be trapped beneath the soil had been recovered. At around 11:30 a.m., the equipment finally arrives, creating the first wave of this kind to the scene of death, 5 days after the landslide washed away over 18 homes. This equipment is capable of doing just in a day what more than 100 men could do in months.
So we shall make sure the equipment is stationed here until we remove and recover the last body.
Despite the concerted efforts to search for the bodies, about 15 homes remain buried under millions of tons of soil in an area about 700 meters long and 300 meters wide.
We shall also use the same equipment to make sure that we level this place, because right now it's a disaster scene, it's a hazardous area.
The hopes of retrieving the missing bodies remain high, but critics say that the most important issue right now that government should attend to is the relocation of the people who stand the risk of being washed away by a landslide if disaster strikes again. The Minister of Disaster and Preparedness issued a warning on Tuesday, telling people to leave the places immediately, but there is no much work that has been done on the ground, and the warning remains trite.
They must get out of, because I want them alive. Their welfare we can discuss when they are alive. I don't want to come and be bringing condolence messages here all the time.
The slopes of Mount Elgon have hosted thousands of locals in this entire region, but it seems it cannot endure them anymore. There are reports that the crack on the slopes keep enlarging by day.
They have never been told where to go.
The search for the dead continues and will take days to clear the entire area, but critics say that it's high time government uses double barrel method, retrieve the bodies and also relocate those sitting on a time bomb. Sudil Biarhanga, NTV.
The government of Uganda has awarded a contract to the China Sinopharm International Corporation to put up a pressure swing absorption plant at Mulago National Referral Hospital. The move is expected to enhance the availability of oxygen in the hospital's intensive care unit and for other government hospitals to access it from the national referral free of charge. The plant will also produce oxygen for sale to other private entities. Mulago and other hospitals have been relying on imported oxygen. The 18-week project will cost government $1 million, about 2.4 billion shillings.
Thank you. I received yours. Yes. I can't do it. Thank you. Thank you. We spend about 700 million to buy oxygen, both from Kenya, which comes in tanks, and also for gas oxygen from BOC and so forth. So when this plant begins working, we'll be saving that one initially, 700 million yearly, and then when we sell also to other hospitals, also get more money. And to me, really, this is a good deal. We hope we shall serve the people of Uganda better by giving them oxygen in intensive care units, in theaters and so forth. But the other private hospitals can come and buy. But the government hospitals, we are all government, and we shall give them, I think, free of charge, unless otherwise.
Shall break up for a short while now, but we return with more news, and here's what you can expect. Meet Angela Katetumba, the musician, climate change ambassador and hotel manager, on Profile this week. And Golola Moses is back. Don't miss his hilarious words in our weekly dose of humor, Point Blank.
This is NTV.
I'm knocking. A message yali the last piece of a jambia yali muhadi wa yo.
No, bloody way, holy moly.
We've just met. How can I be your friend? Mr. Rajmond. Okuzimba nyumba nga kintu kizibu nnyo banange mugumire mu bupangisa. Come.
I'm called Olar Oton. There's no English name. Just like resistance, Yakazol.
I blame you. You have option of getting international husband. Why do you get it local?
A message yali the last.
Ice, baby. Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. I sit back. Give me hope, Joanna. Joanna, give me hope. Joanna, for the morning come. Give me hope. With different colors. One people. Different colors. One people.
You got to know when to hold up. Know when to fold up. Know when to walk away. And know when
Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Miaka rudi miaka nenda. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Ice, baby. Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. I sit back. Give me hope, Joanna. Give me hope, Joanna. Give me hope. collaborate and listen. I sit back.
Oh, give me hope, Joanna. Oh, Joanna, give me hope, Joanna, for the morning come. Give me hope.
With different colors, one people. Different colors, one people.
You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to...
Your Saturday afternoons just got better on NTV with Exposed. Join Katz and the Platinum DJs as they bring you some mad DJ skills and crazy video mixes.
You're now rocking with the best. Catch us every Saturday as we live. We'll take you through an experience you'll never forget.
Remember to call in with your music requests and also get a chance to win some incredible goodies.
We asked, what should parents or guardians do to ensure the safety of their children from potential kidnappers? That question is, what should parents or guardians do to ensure the safety of their children from potential kidnappers? To have your say, text your comment to 8778 followed by your name and where you are texting from. Let's now quickly sample some of your comments so far. We've got Mwima Kuzaifa from Tororo Town saying parents should ensure that their children are always at home, especially during night hours. And Labu Sam in Chireka saying parents and guardians need to take keen notice on who to care for their children and must spare time for these children as well. We also have Taban Wilfred from Kansanga saying parents should restrict unnecessary movement of their children and warn them against association with strangers. There's still time for you to have your say. The number once again is 8778. We'll be reading some more at the very end of tonight's newscast. Now moving on, police in the northeastern town of Soroti have arrested 4 people for allegedly participating in a protest that left property belonging to a mosque damaged. This and more in our weekly news wrap.
Four people in Soroti have been arrested for allegedly participating in a protest that left property belonging to a mosque damaged. The 4 were a part of a group of Muslims from Takwa Mosque in Soroti Town who were opposed to an eviction from the property. The eviction, according to police in Soroti, was a result of non-payment of rent for 1 year. Caught by lifts from a Kampala-based Mutesasida Associates firm descended on the mosque and threw out property belonging to Muslims, triggering a strike that police quelled using tear gas. Meanwhile, police have arrested a man suspected of attempting to kill his ex-girlfriend. Munyira Aramanzani allegedly conspired with his friend to throw acid at his ex-girlfriend for leaving him. However, his plans were frustrated after his friend alerted the police. According to police, Munyira will be charged with attempted murder.
Charging with the conspiracy to commit murder.
Munyira's ex-girlfriend Nakalema claims she has been getting threats from the time she decided to end their relationship. Police have advised the public to take such threats against them seriously and report to the nearest police station.
In business, inflation continues to fall, even though very slowly, casting further doubt that the central bank will succeed to bring it down to single digits as it has committed by the end of the year. The spanner in the works for the monetary managers is the persisting food prices, which are no longer a case of drought. Samuel Satumba has that report.
There is no doubt that inflation is falling, nevertheless, very slowly, perhaps not as the country's economic managers would expect. Annual headline inflation for the month of June fell to 18% from 18.6% in May, registering a drop of only 0.6%.
When the prices go up, they don't come down, so they remain there, and they feed many sectors of the economy. Because when, for instance, when the food crops went up, then the school decided to go up, and now we are raising it recently. So we find that now despite that the prices are coming down, but the rate at which they are coming down is not the same rate at which they are going up. So we find that that's why we are just studying the inflation coming slowly down.
However, annual core inflation eased to 19.5% in June from 21.2% in May. Monthly inflation across the board was on a downward trend. Meanwhile, in the last 7 financial years, this outgoing one registered the highest rate of inflation at 23.5% compared to 6.5% last financial year. In effect, inflation this financial year was almost 4 times what it was last financial year, explaining why the money you earn could possibly buy less than this time last year. Samuel Satumba, NTV Weekend Edition.
Now, she's a music artist, manager of a hotel, and was appointed International Climate Change Ambassador by the British Council. We're talking about Angela Katatumba, who attributes her success in music to staying steadfast in what she believes in. In this week's profile, Maurice Ochol delves into the life of Angela Katatumba, who was at one point weighed down by depression.
It's here in Muyenga, one of the hills in Kampala, where I caught up with Angela Katatumba. Born and raised by Bonnie and Gertrude Katatumba, the Honorable Consul of Pakistan in Uganda.
So I was born in Nairobi, Kenya. I started primary at the Katatumba Academy in Mbarara.
After completing her high school diploma in Canada, Angela went ahead to pursue a degree in law and economics in the UK.
Because my dad said, you know, I know how you handle your brothers. You're argumentative, you know, you floor them when it comes to arguments. So, you know, I'm assertive, I'm confident, I can express myself.
After completing her studies, one of her first jobs was in telemarketing. This was just the beginning of her rise, and she soon found herself managing a casino that exposed her to a number of music stars, encouraging her to nurture her long-hidden talent.
And I got so much experience now, not in the action, but watching the action and seeing how these people control the crowd, how, you know, the professionalism.
But though she worked and found that she had everything in her hand and exposure, Angela felt an emptiness in her heart.
Maybe people have to understand that to believe it. People think, you're abroad in America, what more do you want? So one day my mom calls, she's like, you don't sound happy. I'm like, because I'm not. She said, but you're making money, you're driving. I said, yes, I have everything literally that I worked for on my own.
But 3-4 years down the road, you're not even thinking of going back to work there. You're now comfortable in Uganda.
That credit economy, somehow your money is, it's the strangest thing. Your money is in and out. You don't really, you have the money, yes, you have the credit card, yes, but you don't really see your money. But in Uganda, you work hard, you will see that money.
This made her then return to the country and start up her career in music, which soon gained her massive airplay. Starting her music career wasn't easy, as her parents, who had reservations about her new path, laid down some rules.
Be decent, don't embarrass us, you know, we've taken years building our name the honest way. Don't come and trash it, you know, because, you know, a lot of people think musicians, but yeah, you know.
I know there are many challenges that you've gone through, especially in your music career in Uganda. What are some of those? Has it been a glossy life all through for you?
I've been put under pressure, saying, no way, you're too decent. You know, show us some more skin. And I'm like, oh my God, by the time you're telling me that, what are they telling these poor girls? Yeah. You know, so sometimes I just wish that these girls would have more of a backbone and say, you know what, don't think that if somebody doesn't play your music, it's the end of the world. I've got so many obstacles where people just will not play my music because they think it's not in Luganda, period. We won't play.
For Angela, hard work and studying steadfast is what she believes in. Her seen her go places, and the music industry in Uganda is but one other ladder.
Investment, it's time, it's decency to me. It's the whole picture for me.
Let's go. Having established herself in the music industry, Angela went on to form her own NGO to care for those affected by the conflict in northern Uganda, known as For You Gulu.
The For You Gulu song, I sang it for the Gulu Walk that was taking place in 41 cities around the world.
It was not long before others began to appreciate her work and resilience. She was appointed by the British Council in Uganda to be the International Climate Change Ambassador.
To me, it was a big deal, and they commissioned my work and flew me around the world, and I went for the Global Climate Change Summit in Cancun, Mexico.
Being an ambassador, this has made her to represent the country in different conferences, and for now, as part of her work, she visits schools and places advocating for environment.
In my foundation, I always target schools because there's nothing better than children growing up. That's the best way to change any nation or to pass a message. It's to the kids, so they grow up knowing it's important to be clean, it's important to plant trees.
With a number of songs under her belt, the eloquent singer still believes it's just the beginning. Aside from her music career, having studied masters in economics, Angela now is the managing director of Hotel Diplomat in Muyenga. Being a manager in a hotel, a singer and an ambassador, it's at this point that she revealed one of the most challenging moments she's gone through.
Because I remember when I broke up with my partner at the time, he left and we were living together at the time, and it ended, and I called home. The first person I called, I said, yes, Papa, the relationship didn't work, but I'm ready to come home to Uganda now. My dad is like, my friend, that's not how they handle life. You don't run away from things, you face them. I said, what? I used to be huge, and I lost. I became a size 11. Thoughts like, if a bus could just run over me, it would have done me a favor, Lord. Can you imagine? You're there with all your education, with all your so-called degrees, and a man can bring you down to that level of regretting why you've woken up. I've been there.
She looks at her father as her role model in the society and not forgetting God as a mentor.
I'm feeling so close to you, boy.
Maurice Chol, NTV.
Close to you.
Now, I don't think Gololo Moses had disappeared in shame after succumbing to Naji the Hungarian. In our weekly satire, Agnes Nanduji brings us part 2 of the dancing champions in Parliament, and Gololo Moses, who has been in class for a PhD in pain and is ready to face off with Zamboki tonight.
Zillions bite off.
Hey! I am the man who can just look at the woman and she gets pregnant. Where did you train from?
You should leave issues of the generals to the generals.
You want another rap?
Yeah, Susan.
Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you part 2 of the victory party for the East African Legislative Assembly Speaker, Margaret Ziwa, commonly known as Mama Nantongo. And the chief dancer is still none other than the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Olanya. But first, you have to give him a round of applause. Olanya is not only good at sharing the August house, but when it comes to a dance floor, He is unbelievable. Are you trying to dare the man from Northern Connection, Nankabirwa? You can only handle mzee wa kazi, Honorable Poka. Thank you, thank you. Honorable Chiwanda, the brain behind this was victory. That is the reason there was fracas between you and Tinka Simire.
Chiwanda, vawo, tukumanyi, oli musajja wankwe, oyinza kututira na wanu mu hoteli.
Oh, do you know what happened in Arusha? MPs exchanged blows because of Ziwa's victory. All right, honorable members, why don't you now join Golamoses at Chadondo Rugby Club? The fight must have kicked off now. And given the training that Golola has gone through this time round, hope he will not disappoint us again. But first, Bwana Golola, I want you to go through an interview. Otherwise, you might begin fighting like a villager, just as you did last time. Are you ready? Do you now understand kickboxing?
As I always tell you that kickboxing is the combination of kicking and punching.
And will you be able to defeat Zamboke?
I think I'm going to be able to give Zamboke a good fight than the fight I had before. I promise I'm going to give him a good fight. I've trained good.
What assurance do you give us?
Zamboke knows me because I'm the man who has the PhD in pain. I don't feel pain. I have trained enough. I'm a rock. He's going to hit me, but he's going to feel pain because I'm a PhD of pain. So when the ring, ring, bang, bang, let the punch and kicks decide.
Ah! It seems you can do better in the local language. Tulile mugai, Zamboke unomusobola.
Kickboxing kwe kuba musajja ngumi ngatebo mukuba n'emigere ku mulundi guno kabasaba saze otali bungoli ngoli gundire kamba kubira omusajja ayita ku mwala gwe bwayise.
We hope so, because the diet you have embarked on is promising.
This is not a joking subject.
Indeed, it is not a joking subject. Have you ever eaten such food? Testing. Why are you eating all this?
Because remember, this is a world champion. I'm eating very well because I don't want an excuse that I didn't eat very well.
Hey!
That is it. I'm going to beat this man with enough energy. What I'm eating here is what I'm going to show in the ring.
Assure us, man.
So let me beat this man without complaining. This is not a joking subject. I'm eating here and I'm going home with a jerrycan of juice.
Are you sure you are now heavyweight?
Yesterday I was 77.5, but I'm going to reach in the ring when I'm like 100 kilograms. So he's going to find out.
All right. Enjoy your meal. But don't disappoint us. Agnes Nandutu. Point blank.
Now Joel Kamadi is standing by to bring us the very latest in NTV Weekend Sport. Joel, good evening. What do you have in store for us?
Good evening, Rachel. And it's all about Golola Moses tonight, isn't it?
I can imagine.
Well, he is currently warming up at to take up on Hungarian Zamboke Mate in a 10-round bout at the Chadondo Rugby Club in a short while. I'll be telling you more on how well prepared he is in NTV Weekend Sport up next.
is NTV.
I'm knocking. A message yali ku the last piece of a jambia yali muhadi wa yo.
No, bloody way, holy moly. We've just met. How can I be your friend? Mr. Rachmond. Okuzimba nyumba nga kintu kizibu nnyo banange mugumire mu bupangisa. Come.
I'm called Olar Oton. There's no English.
A message yali ku the last piece of a jambia yali muhadi wa yo.
No, bloody way, holy moly. We've just met. How can I be your friend? Mr. Rachmond. Okuzimba nyumba nga kintu kizibu nnyo banange mugumire mu bupangisa. Come.
I'm called Olar Oton. There's no English name. Just like resistors, Yakazol.
I blame you. You have option of getting international husband. Why do you get it?
Ideally, we all have the right to express our opinions and views truthfully and openly.
Atele long tugenda katongole mbukasam.
Kampala bwerere mwansomu the bus. The discussion is still going on in the bus.
Tulino kugumira challenges ezimu gwe tuba tulino goba abatembeyi mwami lukwaga agumaga abatembeyi mugende no badengala kunyonyola omukulu badengala kunyonyola omwami yagambye nti meya lukwago ye meya omutuufu
gavumenti ekutte lukwago emunyigira mu nsonda takyekyusa.
Welcome back to Minibus Kyogereko.
Singa omusajja abankwana nga njagala sifa ku kya ssente wabula nfa ku mbeera ye
alimba ono
This is Minibus
Kyogereko.
Good evening, I'm Joel Kamadi and welcome to NTV Weekend Sport. Now, Golola Moses' chase for a world kickboxing title will be put to test tonight when he fights Hungary's Zamboki Mate in a 10-round bout at Chadondo in Kampala. Golola will rely on his feeding for victory as security officials set measures to check any terror threats.
A well-balanced nutritional diet and adequate training to sharpen skills is recommended for any athlete looking forward to excelling in any competition. To Golola Moses, his feeding habits are to give him a unique advantage over his opponent in tonight's world middleweight kickboxing fight to be staged in Kampala at 11.
Yesterday I was 77.5, but I'm going to reach in the ring when I'm like 100 kilograms. So he's going to find out.
The officials, including security experts, have teamed up to ensure safety before, during and after the highly anticipated fight at Chadondo.
We are going to be having standby class 1. What do I mean by that? As he said, we have counter-terrorism, SMY, ISO, police. Come in time, acquire a ticket at Hardware World, display your arm at the entrance as you enter. No one will disturb you. We don't have fake tickets. These are custom made, they are printed in German.
A victory for Golola through a knockout will earn him 10 million shillings in addition to the same amount and 4 acres of land given to him earlier. Moses Golola has had 17 fights, winning 12 through knockout, while his opponent Zamboki has fought 27 times, winning 25 and 3 being against Andras Nagy. But the fight here will determine who is superior among the two. Alfred Odong, NTV Sport.
Now, Uganda is a few steps from being declared anti-doping compliant after the regional anti-doping organization representative from Africa Zone 5, James Osawo, trained 4 doping control officers. The official has to clear the country free of doping irregularities within 1 week ahead of the forthcoming London Olympic Games.
Ugandan athletes have been commended for being cooperative after going through random tests by the regional anti-doping organization here in Kampala. James Osawo declared Uganda ready for the next stage, that is to set up a national anti-doping organization to be affiliated to the Africa Zone 5 comprising of Egypt and Sudan among others.
And the one in Tunisia was found to be wanting, so it was closed. So we now have only one laboratory in Africa, and that's in Bloemfontein.
The expert and his colleagues will from now onwards make sudden visits to perform tests on athletes who excel to ensure they are not using performance-enhancing drugs.
You have to account where you go to that abnormal level of red blood cells.
Like we said in competition, that's where we choose number 1, 2, 3. Out of competition, which is random, like when I come here, we don't even know we are going to test. Then we narrow it down to this discipline.
The regional anti-doping organizations that fall under the World Anti-Doping Agency ensure fair competition in sport by educating and using spot checks on athletes. Alfred Odong, NTV Sport.
Now, FIFA officials were in Kampala in the last 3 days to give guidance on the management of football in the country. The activities entailed a chain of meetings with the government, FIFA, Uganda Super League and a selected team of officials before proposing amendments to have the Uganda Super League Memorandum of Understanding and the FIFA Constitution amendments. These meetings were held behind closed doors, but we are privileged to host one of the parties of the discussions. And joining us in studio to shed more light on this matter is Mujib Kasule, the FIFA Vice President for the Uganda Super League. You're welcome to NTV Weekend Edition, Mujib.
Thanks for inviting me.
Now, FIFA once again sent a delegation to help iron out the football management problems in Uganda. What was the mission this time around?
It's football governance. Remember, we have had so many fracases, so many fights, so many politics in the game, and many times it has stopped the game from continuing. So after careful investigations, FIFA saw it that it was fitting to start with the change of the regulations, the constitutions, and make sure that once those are in place, everybody knows where they fall, everybody knows his duties, obligations, and after that we'll be clear to see who's fighting who for which reasons. But the problem was proper governance, lack of documentation, lack of agreed rules. Those were the problems. So they came here to make sure that we put to task everybody to make sure we clear that out.
Okay, now it said a number of proposals have been drafted for both the Uganda Super League Memorandum of Understanding and FIFA. Which are these pending amendments?
Quite a bit. First, with the FIFA Constitution. The old one, or the existing one, is not very democratic in a way that the president is the only elected executive member, then he appoints the rest. Now it's going to change. Everybody on the FIFA executive will be elected. We have had an assembly of 184 members, out of which 154 come from districts. So there are 2 points there. One, the assembly is too big. We don't think that with such a big number, people can sit in one day and actually debate serious football matters. So we need to reduce it to 86. Secondly, it did not represent the balance of power. There are so many association members, but you could see that the districts only had 154, which means that if there was a decision to be made, the districts were always overwhelmed because they had the numbers they needed without lobbying any other group. Now that is going to change. No particular group is going to have more numbers to dominate decisions. So that is going to change. Also, the FIFA executive has had 21 members. Now that's too big also. It's going to be reduced to 12. But we have earmarked one position for a lady on the committee and also a position for Uganda Super League. Now the other issue is about Uganda Super League. The clubs in the Uganda Super League, in recognition of their contribution to football, are going to be direct members. Before they used to affiliate through a group. Now each club will be a direct member to FIFA. that is another change. Also, Super League has had representation of non-chairmen.
Yes.
Now, going forward, only chairmen of clubs will form the leading pact of the Super League to make sure that we have quality of leadership, quality of members that are running the league.
Okay, now Mujib, just before we let you go, finally, what is FUFA's position on the banned officials like Kavuma Kabenge and Jimmy Abil, who have defied the decision of the disciplinary committee by continuing with their normal duties of managing the USL?
The ban stands, and FIFA confirmed that they recognize the ban, and those two officials are banned. They will not take care of football matters anymore until they serve the ban. They were given an opportunity to appeal, but they didn't do that, and FIFA thought that was a breach of an agreement and lack of respect for football. So the ban stands, and but going forward, I think what FIFA was stressing, that football should be beyond individuals. It should be a system. It should be about people. We should be serving Ugandans.
Thank you very much, Mujib Kasule.
You're welcome.
We were speaking to Mujib Kasule, the FUFA Vice President for the Uganda Super League. Now, moving on to the international sports scene, Mario Balotelli secured Italy a place in the Euro 2012 final against Spain as the goals drowned Germany in Warsaw. And in tennis, Wimbledon witnessed one of the greatest upsets in its 126-year history as two-time champion Rafael Nadal was dumped out by little-known Czech Lucas Rosol. Balotelli put Italy on the way when he directed Antonio Cassano's cross past Germany keeper Manuel Neuer, then added a thunderous second from Ricardo Montolivo's pass. Mesut Ozil's injury time penalty provided the briefest anxiety for Italy, whose victory was confirmed moments later, and Balotelli fell into the warm embrace of his mother as he made his way down the tunnel.
Yes, the last quarter of an hour we really made some mistakes. We could have got the third goal, but we missed twice. But there was nothing left in our legs at that stage, so we tried to defend in the box, and I think we played a stronger game. I think Mario Balotelli's just started. This is only the beginning. It's very bitter. We made some stupid mistakes, and that's how we conceded goals in the second half. We tried everything. We gave our all. Then we got the goal. We had one more great chance, and if I had scored that, we would have equalized and maybe even won the game. But the way we conceded the goals, no, it shouldn't have been.
In tennis, second seed Rafael Nadal was sent crashing out of Wimbledon as he was beaten in 5 sets by unknown Czech player Lucas Rosol. Rosol, ranked 100th in the world, sealed the biggest win of his life to record one of the biggest shocks in Grand Slam history. He fought back to win 6-7, 6-4, 6-4, 2-6, 6-4 in 3 hours and 18 minutes and become the lowest ranked player to beat Nadal in a Grand Slam tournament.
Are you ready to drink at the table?
This is NTV.
And that's all the sport we had for you this weekend. Back to you, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Joe. A quick one before I let you go. What do you think are Moses Golola's chances? I'm a personal fan.
Well, Golola is ranked 17th, while Zamboki is just a rank low at 18th. And there was talk, of course, that Zamboki has beaten Anas Naji before. And we all know that the trouble he caused Golola last time round. But both of them promised to knock out their opponent before the 10 rounds are done. So let's just wait and see. The bout is almost getting underway, but my money is definitely on Golola Moses.
All right. Well, we hope with his newfound diet and zeal, Golola Moses will definitely come out on top. We'll take another quick break now. We'll be right back with more of your comments on our NTV Weekend poll and your weather forecast.
This is NTV.
Ice, ice, baby. Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. Ice is back. Oh, give me hope, Joanna. Oh, Joanna, give me hope, Joanna, for the morning come. Give me hope. With different colors, one people. Different colors, one people.
You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away.
collaborate and listen. I sit back. Give me hope, Joanna. Hope, Joanna. Give me hope, Joanna. For the morning come, give me hope. With different colors, one people. Different colors, one people.
You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to...
Nasinzia nikikuwaza, nasinzia nikikuwaza, miaka rudi miaka nenda, nasinzia nikikuwaza.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now in our NTV Weekend poll, we asked what should parents or guardians do to ensure the safety of their children from potential kidnappers. Let's now sample some of your views and your opinions. We have well, someone here who didn't leave a name, saying parents and guardians should take fingerprints, passport-size photos and full details of their child minders. Someone here paying attention to detail. We've got Zach saying parents these days have limited time for their kids. Trusting them with other people increases the risk of kidnapping. And finally, Rose Tumu in Boyogere is saying house helps should be treated like members in a home. It gives them a sense of belonging. Thank you very much for all your responses to our NTV Weekend poll. Be sure to have your say even tomorrow. And now we'll take a look at your weather forecast. And that weather report concludes our Friday bulletin. NTV Weekend Edition will be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for having joined us. From myself and the team behind the scenes, it's good night.
This is NTV.
No one feels the motherland like we do. No one feels the motherland like we do.